Have you ever wondered if trees could talk?
What would they say?
Would they talk nice?
Or would they be mean?
Could they speak in different languages?
Would they talk to us, to animals, or to each other?
Let's start with a video about talking trees.
Ouch! What do you think you're doing?
The idea of talking trees has been capturing the human imagination for generations.
Did you say something? My bark is worse than my bite.
Okay, so maybe they don't talk to us, but it turns out trees can talk to each other.
Trees are speaking to each other.
But that does beg the question, what do trees have to talk about? And can we learn to speak their language? Underneath the soil, a vast and interconnected network of life links the trees through their root systems. But they can't talk to each other without help. The whole process starts with hub trees, the oldest and tallest trees in the forest. Hub trees have greater access to sunlight, and through the process of photosynthesis, end up producing more sugar than they actually need. Underground, fungi need sugar to survive. Most of their bodies are made up of a mass of threads called mycelium. They grow within the root system of trees to absorb the excess sugar. In return, the mycelium provides the tree with the nutrients it needs from the soil. This symbiotic relationship is known as mycorrhiza, which stems from the Greek words for fungus and root. These tree-fungi relationships connect the trees in the forest together, forming an underground communication network to exchange water and nutrients, to nurture their seedlings, and even send warning signals when under threat. So, how many trees are really talking to each other? To get a better picture of these forest relationships, a team of researchers used DNA analysis to map a fungal network in a patch of Canadian forest. Remarkably, they found that one tree was connected to 47 other trees. Their models also showed that when hub trees were removed, it would cause more connections to be lost than if trees were simply removed randomly. Studying these kinds of underground exchanges will play a vital role in creating stronger, more resilient forests for the future. So even though we might not be able to talk to trees, at least we can still keep trying to understand their language. Who knows what they might say?
So now we know that trees can talk, but only to each other. Let's create some tree faces and see who's talking now.
Miss Pam, what kind of face are you making?
I decided to do a face that recognized Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I'm using pinks and purples, trying to put a smile on everyone who may be going through and experiencing breast cancer.
Miss Bev, what kind of face are you making?
I made a silly face. Something that I can look out on the porch every day and make me smile because he's goofy looking.
Jillian, what kind of face are you making?
I'm making a natural face. I'm using fruits and bird seed so that animals can eat it.
Hi, Miss Rachel. What kind of face are you making?
I'm making this cool luau man. And he just was hanging out at the beach. He has his sunglasses, beach hat to keep him cool. That's about it.
What did the tree wear to the pool party? I don't know. What? Swimming trunks. What is the tree's favorite month? I don't know. September. What kind of tree can fit in your hand? I don't know. What? A palm tree. How do trees get on the internet? I don't know how. They log in. What did the little tree say to the big tree? I don't know. What? Leave me alone. Why did the pine tree get in trouble? I don't know. Why? He was being naughty.
Hey, Miss Rachel.
Hey!
Did you know we have an enchanting forest right here in Delaware where we can hike on trails and see all kinds of trees?
No, I didn't know that. Let's go.
I'll race ya!
Hi, how are you? My name is Eric and I work for the Delaware Forest Service. I am the Southern Regional Forester and I manage all of Redden State Forest. The Delaware Forest Service is part of the Delaware Department of Agriculture. We're fortunate enough to manage publicly owned lands all throughout the state and here in Sussex County. Redden State Forest, which we are here at the headquarters track, is approximately 14,000 acres, and it's made up of about 19 separate tracts now. Fortunately, we keep acquiring land, and again, that's your land, that's public owned land. So I am tasked with taking care of the forest and all its resources. And that's kind of the mission of the Forest Service. We not only manage these public lands, but we also help private citizens. Anything from going to their houses and diagnosing sick trees, or managing large tracts of land that people may own to keep their forest healthy and keep all of those resources, those renewable resources there in the forest, viable. So it's, I have a degree in forestry. I have several forestry degrees, and it was something that I was inspired to do as a kid because I grew up in the woods. All my time was spent in the woods, just as a place of solace. Also, I like to hunt and fish and camp and do all the things that you could think of in terms of being able to use our resources in our woods as something to recreate in, to spend my time in, and to learn all the things that I can about those so I can make decisions that best serve the land. So I'd like to talk to you all about the opportunities that we offer here. We're on our headquarters track and we're on the education trail. This is probably our most used trail. It's a 1 mile loop that has parking out by the office. So a lot of what people do here is they hike, they walk their dogs, they can ride their bikes. People bring their horses here. We also have campsites that we are revamping and will reopen in the fall. And it's all in an effort for people to come out and enjoy this place and the benefits that it has. So we talk about, I spoke how we manage the forest here and why we do that and what the benefits are of that. You know, with trees, what do we get from trees? We get clean air, we get clean water, and we have a variety of habitat that we try to maintain for wildlife and rare species, like I had mentioned before. And what's unique about this place is that when you think about the forest, people don't realize that, you know, the forest is made up of different things. You have mature woods like what's behind us here now. This is a really important and diverse, part of the landscape here. And then you can look over here where we have a young forest, something that's maybe, 20 or so years old. And what we do here at Redden is we try to really focus on diversity in the landscape. So what I mean by that is we like to manage things in our forest at a stand level. And a stand is something that consists of maybe different species of trees, different age classes of trees, so all the trees are different age. And that can depend upon where you're at on the landscape too. You're dealing with different types of soil. You may be in a swamp, you may be in an old sand dune or something of that nature. So every time that you have those different changes on the landscape, it favors different kinds of trees, and we try to really focus on managing those in a way that is most beneficial to the forest that is growing on that particular landscape. So to give you an example, we're on the headquarters track. Since we manage it by stand, there are close to 50 separate stands of timber, all based on, the species type, which means which type of trees they are, and age classes, and also just what we may find within those stands, and we want to manipulate those stands and manage them to favor certain things. And when we talk about what kind of management we do, we harvest timber. So we do come in here and cut certain trees. Certain trees require that happens. These really large loblolly pines that are behind us, these are pretty old. And the ones over to our side are younger. But these are trees that require full sunlight and not a lot of competition. So these stands, it would go from something mature like this to something that we would cut, and eventually this stand over here has been thinned. We actually had loggers come in and they selectively leave the very best trees and take out the trees that aren't of good form, are a little smaller, and what we're trying to do is the trees that are in really good shape, give them the best chance. So, and when you open up the crown, the forest canopy, and you get sunlight to the forest floor, that's the real motivator. That's what really gets the forest moving. You start to see species that we haven't seen before with vascular plants, grasses, and things like that, and you have to think about what that's going to benefit. We manage for a lot of game species and non-game species, so people do hunt here. We have a lot of people that deer hunt here. There's a really large population of wild turkey and small game species, and every time that you manipulate these stands, it affects where they like to be. It affects their food sources. So that's things that we really like to consider, because that's very important. We like to see that we have a really nice population of turkeys people can walk around. And also with non-game species, with songbirds, we get a lot of neotropical migrating birds. So a lot of times you see a lot of rare birds that come through here at certain times of the year. A lot of bird watchers like to come out here because of that reason, and that diversity that we create on that stand level. We'll have a mature stand, and some birds only like to be in certain heights of the canopy in a mature forest, whereas in a younger forest, like we have over here, certain birds like to occupy that in certain heights in the canopy. So when you have that diversity in the landscape, you're offering an opportunity for all these different species to thrive. So we also maintain open areas, which are really important on the landscape. So we have what we kind of call a game plot, where we would plant warm season grasses. And what's interesting with a lot of those is that we manage them with fire. Most people think that fire across the landscape is something that's harmful, but fire under certain conditions is very beneficial to the landscape. It prompts new growth. But myself and our staff, we have a lot of training in that, and it's something that is done under a high level of expertise. But it's a very, very interesting process that we that we partake in here and have for a very long time. So along with forest harvesting, with logging, use of fire, selective thinning, we could even come in and cut certain trees. It's very labor intensive, but come and cut certain trees in the understory to benefit other species. So it can even go as far as something like that. So I talked about all the opportunities that we have here that you can engage in. Also, one of the other things you can come here and do is fish. We have a nice fishing pond here. So I guess overall what I would do is encourage you to try to come out and visit us. Take the time, ask your parents, and come out and enjoy the outdoors. Unplug from your devices. Come out and look at things and kind of open your mind up. It's a really healthy thing to do, to be out there in the woods. It's quiet, but it's really not. If you just listen, you can hear all these things, and it should draw questions for you. What bird did I hear? What tree is that? What else can I find here? And ask yourself those questions and seek that knowledge and learn as much as you can about the environment that you live in. It's all here for you to experience, and we would really encourage you to come out. And if you see one of us, one of the foresters, to ask us questions, and we'd be happy to spend some time with you and answer those for you. So if you have an inkling and it's something you want to do, please come and visit the Redden State Forest and enjoy your public lands here, provided, through the Delaware Forest Service.
Thanks, Ranger Eric, for showing us around. I hope you go check out all the fun activities at the Redden State Forest. Go to the Delaware Forest Service Facebook page every Tuesday for the Tree of the Week.
Now let's make some nature sensory tree collection jars. Look for some trees in your area and find some unique berries and leaves from each kind of tree. You will also need a clear jar with a lid. Fill it with water and place your items in the jar. First, we'll start with this holly tree, berries and leaves. And if you swirl it around, you will see the effect that the water does to the items. Next, we'll use this pine cone and pine needles. And again, put the lid on. This one is another holly branch with some white berries on it. And last, we have this pretty white flower. And if you want, you can label the jars with the different types of trees that you found.
Now let's do some art with leaves. You'll have to gather some cool looking leaves, a couple crayons, and water paint, and a big piece of paper. I'm gonna start off with my big elephant ear leaf, and I put it under my paper, and then I'm gonna take my purple crayon and rub really, really hard. Now I'm done with that one. I'm gonna use this cool looking leaf. And I'll put that here. And I think I'm gonna use red this time. Now I think I'll use this leaf. And I'll put it down here. And use green. Use the smallest leaf I have. Put it up here and use orange. And now I'm going to use the water paint to try to make it look brighter. So just start dipping into the paint. And you can use different colors, but I'm going to use black. And this is my final product. And here's my final leaf rubbing art. I hope you enjoy. I hope you've had fun learning about trees today. Please post a picture or leave us a comment on Instagram at mtlibrary121 or on Facebook at Milton Public Library, Milton, Delaware. You can use the hashtag MiltonPLDESRP.
I hope you had fun learning about trees today.
Don't forget to look out for this program's book recommendations.
Join us next Monday for What's Bugging You.
Bye!